All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started this morning. Happy Monday morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us in the Learning Lab as always. Today, we're happy to have a very special guest with us. Today, we have Lisa Turner, who's with RPR. She is the Director of Broker and Specialty Services, and she's going to be taking us through RPR and all the things that are available to you. A little bit different for this class than what we've done in the past. We are going to be taking questions at the very end. We have a lot to cover, and there's going to be a lot of different topics, so your question might get answered. But just to make this a nice, clean recording, we're going to go ahead and go straight on through and then answer questions at the end. So if you could either hold your questions or if you want to throw them into chat, we'll be happy to do a Q&A at the end. Again, let's welcome Lisa Turner with RPR, and she's going to take us through RPR and what it has to offer you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It is so great to be here with everyone today. My role at RPR is to help agents within our broker partners to familiarize them with RPR, the features, the tools, the benefits, and then really help the brokerage gain adoption and usage of RPR. So on that note, hopefully everyone sees my screen. It says RPR, Jumpstart Your Business with RPR. This class actually holds a very special place in my heart. Kristen, I don't know if you're even aware of this, but I lived in Chesapeake from 2012 to 2018. I miss it terribly. And as I was preparing for this session, it all kind of came crashing back. So what I want to do is I want to start with I want to level set. I know many of you may already be using RPR. Some of you may be entirely new. So I want to make sure everyone knows what it is and kind of the impact it could have on your business before we jump into a live demo of the presentation. So what is RPR? RPR, first of all, stands for Realtors Property Resource. This is where the acronym comes from, but everyone knows us as RPR, Realtors Property Resource. What does that mean? It is exactly that. It is a resource, property resource for realtors. It is, in simplest terms, this ginormous, I borrow that word from my kids, ginormous database of residential and commercial properties. There are over 170 million properties in this database. It is national in scope and it's parcel-centric in nature. Now, what does that mean? Your MLS system is a listing-based resource, is a listing-based database, and everything is aggregated at the listing ID, whereas in RPR, everything is aggregated at the parcel. So you have this huge database to research both on and off market properties. We've aggregated hundreds of sources of data at that parcel level, so that you have access to the most robust information for every residential and commercial property out there. It's exclusively for the use of realtors. There's no additional charge. It's included in your member dues. And last but not least, and I think maybe most important, there's no consumer access. I know this is a huge, huge thing right now where consumers are going to various portals and they're finding their own properties. RPR is presented as a realtor member benefit to put you in the know, in the driver's seat of having access to the most information available to you. Okay, now, what type of data would you expect to find? Well, we talked about there being over 170 million parcels, but we're also talking about aggregating data like tax record information and mortgage data and deeds. You can even go in and download plot maps. We have the largest database of distressed properties, so you can research foreclosure or pre-foreclosure, any property that's had a Liz pendants filed against it. Billions of photos and valuations. Now, this is really public record data, but then we've layered in MLS data from all the MLSs across the country, and then as much additional data as we can get our hands on, so it is the most robust platform. So how are realtors using RPR in their business? I would say the top 3 uses are searching and researching properties. And we're going to go through these in great detail, but searching and researching properties. Searching, we have very sophisticated search tools to help you hone in and find the very specific properties that you may be looking for. And research, being able to access a wealth of information, remember, at the parcel level, so that you can answer any question about a property that a buyer or seller or prospect might have. Valuation tools. We're going to talk about this in just a moment, but there are CMA features, there are refined value features that help you have precision pricing and be able to communicate that most effectively with consumers in the marketplace. And then finally, reports. There's a whole suite of reports that are designed for you to easily generate and then share, whether you're sharing through social media or sharing through a PDF or emailing it to a buyer or seller or prospect, maybe preparing a presentation seller report that you would take into a listing presentation. But these are all designed to help educate consumers, but also make you look good. That is the only consumer-facing feature of RPR are the reports that you can generate for them. And there's just so much additional data. I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this slide. Now let's talk a little bit about pricing before we jump in and get started. Most of you are familiar with AVMs. These are public-facing websites that automate a value for every property. And usually it goes something like this. You walk in to a listing presentation, or you're talking to a potential seller on the phone, and they're saying, Zillow says my property is worth X. What they are seeing is an AVM, an automated valuation model, where a computer has an algorithm and using public record data arrives at a value for that property. Now, we have an automated valuation, however, in RPR. That automated valuation is called the RVM. It stands for the Realtor Valuation Model. And the key difference, this is the most important difference, is that our algorithm uses public record data and MLS data. You have to have licensing agreements in place and permission from each MLS to use their data in that algorithm to produce a more consistent or up-to-date, or at the end of the day, a more accurate value. I will say on average, the RVMs and RPR on a national scope will come plus or minus about 10% of the true value of the property, the actual value, what the property actually sells for, 93% of the time. That's their national average. Whereas the other versions that are just using public record data only, they're only going to come maybe 65, 70% of the time they're going to be that accurate. Now, the RVMs are updated monthly, but here's the kicker. You always have the ability to refine the value that you see in RPR. And we're gonna go through this together. I just always like to talk about this up front, even though it seems like it's a little out of place, so that you know that you're not stuck with the value that RPR is displayed. In fact, they're actually updated twice a month. But the key here is that the algorithm includes data from the MLS, which is controlled by us, which is controlled by the realtor, which is more accurate than public records. If anyone ever comes to you and says, Zillow says my property is worth $400,000, but it also says that it's only a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and I have 4 bedrooms and I have a frog, right? Then there's going to be a key difference in the value, whereas the MLS is going to be most accurate because the listing agents put that information in there. So how do you get started with RPR? Everyone needs to know how to log into RPR, and the simplest way to log in is just by visiting our website. So give me just a moment. I'm going to change my screen. I'm going to go into a browser, and we're going to log in together. So give me just a moment here.
Looks good. You're good to go.
All right, I am going to sign out and then sign back in. Everyone, to log into RPR, you are going to visit www.narrpr.com. Now, chances are there are links from your MLS, and there are links from the company intranet. But always remember, you can visit www.narrpr.com. It's also fully accessible through a mobile app. So make sure you download from the App Store or from Google Play, whichever version of a platform you're on, a mobile device you're on. And here you're going to enter your email address and your password. If you are unsure what your password is, there's a link here that says forgot password. If you know that you have never created an RPR account, just go ahead and click create new account, and it's going to walk you through the few short steps to create your account. You're going to enter your last name, and then you're either going to enter your email address. This is the email address on file with NAR or your MLS. Or I would say the safest approach here is just select your NAR member ID. This is your NERDS ID, or now referred to as your M1 number. We first need to validate your membership with NAR, and then it's going to validate your membership with your MLS. So you will select that in the next step. Okay. If you think you have an account, but you're not sure, what I would encourage you to do is to click forgot password, enter your email address, and click next. If you have an account, it's going to reset your password or trigger an email to reset your password. If you don't have an account, it's going to say there's no account associated with this email address. Would you like to create one? But also notice here, always look at the very bottom. There are ways that you can contact our help desk. We have help available 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can contact our help desk, or you can even chat with them live during key hours. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my demo account. I've already entered my email address and my password here. I'm going to click sign in, and know the very first screen that you're going to see is your homepage. I want to quickly walk through your homepage so that you're familiar with the elements here and you know how to navigate. I've always said when it comes to technology, especially websites and tools that we use, half of the battle is navigation. In the upper right-hand corner, you have a pick list to your profile. If you do not see your personal image, then you have not completed your profile. So I want you to just go ahead and click this pick list. You're going to go to profile, make sure that you upload your photo. It gives you the opportunity to upload your own logo, even though you should automatically be seeing your logo at the top of every page. This is your own logo. If you use you have your own logo that you use in place of this, this will populate on the cover page of all of the reports. Make sure your account information is updated. This is where you can go to change your password. Your contact information make sure that's all complete. Make sure that you have all of the MLSs that you belong to, or CIEs if you are a commercial practitioner. Make sure that they're all added here, because RPR is designed as roles and rules based. So what that means is that it's going to grant you permissions within the application based off of what we're able to validate. If you belong to more than one MLS, make sure that you have both MLSs or all of the MLSs listed here so that we flip the switch and then we turn on and start funneling in the data that you should have access to. If your state requires a license number be displayed on all marketing material, enter it here. Assistant users, and then you can join our mailing list. We don't make a habit of sending mailers, but if you would like to receive emails from RPR every now and then, be my guest. All right, so let's go back to our homepage. Notice at the top of the screen, we have this main navigation. The main navigation remains consistent, and it will always appear at the top of the screen to the right of your company logo. If you ever get lost in RPR, just click the home button. It's always easy to kind of reset. Think about those of you that do strength training, right? If you ever need your form posture needs to be adjusted, you just need to reset, click the home button. That'll start over. The research pick list gives you quick links to the top research that you could perform, whether it's a property search, a map search, market trend search, neighborhood search, school search, various searches. And there are several different ways that you can get to these types of searches. This is just an easy, quick way to do so. Marketing. There are several features within RPR that help you market, specifically prospecting for potential sellers. So this will take you to some of those steps, as well as some help resources. And then finally, I mentioned reports earlier. There's a suite of reports. There are about 8 different reports available through the desktop version. There are a couple additional reports that are only available through mobile. Those include a buyer tour, as well as an equity analysis report, and what's the third report? Forgive me. Equity analysis report, and it'll come to me. The seller's net. The seller's net's available here. Actually, forgive me, it is the seller's net report. Anyways, the reports tab takes you directly to the page within RPR where you can initiate a report. But don't worry, every search result, as well as every property, will also guide you to the reports as well. A very important link that I want to point out here, help reminds you that there is help that's just a call away, fully accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the live chat, the training area, the ability to email our help desk, and then also the Learn link. The Learn takes you to contextual help resources. What that means is it's going to give you help resources that are relevant to the content on the page. For example, if you are creating a CMA and you need help, and you click the Learn button, the very first resources you're going to see displayed are those related to creating a CMA. My work is exactly that. It's a quick way to access recent activity that you've been engaged with in your RPR account. Now let's take a look. We're going to keep moving down this page, familiarize you with the layout of the data. Just below that mainline navigation, you have a search bar. This will also remain consistent at the top of the page. So it's easy for you to navigate between searching for properties or searching for neighborhoods or searching cities, whatever type of search you're performing, or searching on-market properties versus searching off-market properties. You also have additional filters here. We're going to come back and we're going to perform a search in just a couple minutes. The next section, we have guided tours. Now, the guided tours are exactly that. They're little tutorials that help walk you through performing some of the top line actions in RPR. So if you need help and want guidance running a property search, click property search and you'll see the little footprints appear with the little fuchsia or magenta, whatever you call this color. And it's going to walk you through step by step. It's a great way of learning a feature and having a resource that'll kind of hold your hand and walk you through step by step. Now, as we move down on the home page, notice each section can be collapsed. The 3 dots here, you can either collapse the guided tours or you can expand them. And every section of your home page has these cards that can be collapsed or expanded. The My Market section is really important to set up. If this has not been set up, you're probably seeing a blank map. Now, the importance of having My Market set up is that it gives you a hot sheet, a digital hot sheet to activity in areas that you work. So for example, I set up a market area for Chesapeake, Virginia 23322. This is the area that I primarily work, hypothetically, and I want to keep a pulse on new properties that come on the market, properties that have come available for lease, properties that have had price changes, properties that have gone pending, properties that have recently sold or recently leased. Also, if there have been any changes to any properties that have gone distressed, whether it's a pre-foreclosure or a foreclosure, that will appear here as well. And you can just click in to the different categories and you'll see that activity within the map at all times. To add a market area, you're simply going to click add right from your home page. It will prompt you to enter an area. Now, an area, it doesn't have to be a zip code. It could be something like Jordan Hall in Chesapeake, Virginia. That actually happened to be the neighborhood that I lived in. You select it as you begin typing. It will auto correct or auto suggest locations, and then just click save. And that's going to update your homepage. Let's go back to our homepage, and you can see that not only do I have Chesapeake, Virginia as a saved area, I now have Jordan Hall saved, and there haven't been any changes in Jordan Hall for the past 10 days. That's why it has zeros in all of these sections here. So I'm going to just scroll down. We're going to go back to Chesapeake. And we're going to take a look. Again, this is reflecting changes in the last 10 days. And from here, we can go ahead and view properties. We can click in, we can see a snapshot view of a property, we can view the full details. If anything kind of piques our interest, we can go ahead, click in. Again, this is showing you just changes in the last 10 days. And then below the market areas, you have links this is kind of your My Work. If you have listings, they should auto-populate to your account. Previous listings will also appear there. Under My Properties, any properties that you've saved or recently viewed. This is really cool, okay? The recent views. So these are the 3 properties that I most recently viewed. If you also have RPR Mobile downloaded and you're out in the field and you're driving around and you're seeing for sale by owner signs, or let's say you happen to meet somebody at your son's soccer game and they say, we're thinking about selling. And let's say you pull up their property on the mobile app, it will be integrated with your desktop account. So when you log back into RPR from your desktop account, under recent properties, that property will, even though you viewed in mobile, it will appear in this recent property list. Okay, recent reports that you've run, and then also notes that you've added, and then finally recent searches. Right, this is if you are taking time and going through and the filters and making adjustments to find the right properties, we want to make sure that you have access to quickly rerun those searches. Now you can save searches, but you don't have to. Your recent searches will be stored here for the last 30 days. Also, we have additional resources at the bottom of the page, again, directing you to the help resources, the training resources, the help desk, as well as some discussion forums that you might want to join in. So what I want to do now is I want to start with some basic searches. Okay, I want to start with some basic searches. I want to search for, we just want to search in zip code 23322. Oops, 23322. Everyone needs to know how to search in RPR. So we're going to start with the zip code, and it's automatically giving us some options here. Notice that it's prompted us with a zip code or some addresses that begin with 23322, or even some listing IDs or APN tax ID numbers. So we found Chesapeake, Virginia 23322. And as soon as I select a location, it automatically executes a search. And it shows me there are 308 properties here that are results. Let's take a look at these results. 308 properties, and we can see there's all different kinds of icons in this map window. There's always going to be a legend option off to the right-hand side, and you can see those with the blue circle are for sale, and those with the blue circle with the black outline around it are pending, and those that are in red are distressed. You can see which the yellows for lease, the ones that are half blue, half yellow, those are listed for sale or for lease, I guess whichever comes first, right? So this is a little overwhelming. Forgive me, I didn't mean to click on that. Go ahead and close this legend off to the right-hand side. It's a little overwhelming. There's a lot of information here. Let's go ahead and narrow this down. Now take a look. Remember that search is at the top of every page. We have type status, for sale or for lease. Let's say we just want to work for sale properties, and we only want to see active and active under contract. We don't want to bother with the pendings in our search results to start with. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make those selections. And let's say we want to make sure that we have at least 4-bedroom. We don't need to put a max. And at least 3 bathrooms. Now, what's going to happen, we're going to go ahead and run our search. And notice here, we now have 142 results. So it's a little bit more manageable, right? It's a little bit easier to digest, 142 properties. Now, still a lot of properties to work with, but I just for purposes of showing you how the search results appear, we're going to work with this search right now. We've got 142 properties, and we're in a map view. Okay, we can see the map view, we can zoom out, we can zoom in. Again, it's just zip code 23322. I'm going to change this view from a map view, notice where my cursor is, to a list view. Here's the list view. This might be the view that you prefer, and you can just scroll down through this list. We also have a grid view, or what we call a gallery view, and the gallery view appears like this. And any view that you're in, whether it is a list view, a gallery view, or a map view, you can just put your cursor over the property, or you can click on view info and you can pull a snapshot view of the property. And the snapshot view just has high level details, has the address, the bedroom count, the bathroom count, the square footage, the acreage. Okay, it has the owner information, and then you can click through for full details. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, let's say you want to execute a different type of search. One of the challenges I remember when we moved to Chesapeake back in 2012 was we were told Great Bridge. You have to live in Great Bridge. And every portal that I went to, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, I tried to search Great Bridge and it was impossible. You can actually search by quote unquote neighborhood in RPR. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing Great Bridge, and notice it's going to, again, auto suggest locations, and it finds Great Bridge in Chesapeake, Virginia. And now we have our results. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Now we have all of the properties that are for sale in Great Bridge that are active or active under contract, single family, condo, and co-op. Let's say we want to remove condo and co-op and we just want to stick with single family. We're going to re-execute our search. And now we have 62 properties that are currently for sale in Great Bridge. Maybe you want to save this search. All you do to save it is just click the little heart icon. You give it a name and click save. And now you can access that in my work. We're not going to worry about that right now. So now we've got 62 properties in Great Bridge. I'm going to take it one step further. So now we're searching for sale properties. Let's go ahead into my filters. Let's filter this down a little bit more. Let's say we want properties that are between 300,000 and 450,000. You shouldn't need the additional zeros. So notice as I start typing those additional zeros, it's going to put the highlight it in red. So it's just 300 plus to 450. And we also have the ability to search, let's say, list price to estimated value, 90 to 100%, 80 to 90, or 0 to 80, right? These are the list price. Remember, these are active properties. The list price is under 100%. Or maybe we want to say, let's estimated value. Let's find properties that are worth more what the list price is. And you can select 100 to 110%, 110 to 120%. That's going to, those, notice every time I filter, it updates the number of results. Again, us being in a seller's market right now, probably those are the properties that go really quick. And remember, we're just looking for those that are active. So let's go ahead and just leave that blank right now. Now, notice that we have, we can select that. The bedroom count, bathroom count, if we want lot size, we can exclude distressed properties or we can choose to include them. You can search by MLS. You can search by owner name if you want, or time owned. So as you update and search, we're going to end up with, I did something here. Let's go back into our filters. Let's reset our filters, remove pending, and we're going to again narrow that down to just single families. Something else that I had in there earlier, I must have kept in. We're going to update and search, end up with 93 properties in Great Bridge. Okay, now I want to, so this is, obviously if you're working with a buyer, you're going to be searching active and active under contract. There are other ways. Once you start with a geography, it is very easy to augment that geography, meaning change that geography. Maybe you're primarily looking over here west of Battlefield Expressway. However, maybe they are also saying, you know what, if as long as it's close to Hanbury, we'd be okay with going a little bit east of the expressway as well. You can draw by hand. Notice off to the right, I'm using some of these additional mapping tools. Let's say we want to revise our search and we want to just draw an area. Now we're going to go ahead and search in this area. We found some unsaved, which is fine. And notice now, let me zoom out. We now have some properties that are just east of the expressway. You can click on them. You can see the results, right? Another thing too, I'm going to point out, so play around, take some time, take a look at those, the search areas. Drive time search, this is one of my favorite. Distance search. Travel time gives you the ability to perform a search based on the ideal travel time. So you can either enter an address. Maybe you want to be within a 15-minute drive of your work or of the children's school, or you can just take the pin and drop it in the map. Let's say my children went to Primrose, which is over here off of Cedar Road, somewhere. It's somewhere down around here. I'm just going to drop the pin in the map. I'm going to click next. I'm going to say, in order for me to get my kids to school and to work on time, I need to be commuting at 8 a.m. and I don't want more of a 15-minute drive to Primrose. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And now look what happens. It's showing me all of the areas within this map area that are within a 15-minute drive to where my children are going to school. How cool is that? I mean, I remember when we moved to Virginia, my husband had said, I don't want to be more than a 45-minute drive to the base. And he was at Naval Station, Norfolk. So keep that in mind. This is a great way. This is a great tool to show buyers that are relocating to the area what areas are within their desired search area, and this might help them hone in on a particular area. Something else I want to point out too, let me scroll down, is within the map, you have some geographies. This is really cool from a school, like neighborhoods, right? But also school districts. This is school districts. How many times do you have buyers that come to you and say, we want our children to be zoned for Great Bridge High or Hickory High, or we are looking at both of these school districts, or even elementary school. We want so you can select K through 5th grade, and within the map, let me zoom in on the map and refocus the map. You'll see the school zone boundaries are outlined in orange. So I can go ahead and click on this school zone boundary, search in this area, and this should be showing me all of the properties that are for sale zoned for Great Bridge Primary. Okay, let's go and let's do this now for Hickory High. I just changed it to 9th to 12th grade. We're going to zoom out. Obviously, you play with your zoom features, and you notice that I'm doing this a lot. The zoom features are really important when it comes to the boundaries, but you'll always see boundaries overlaid into the map with the orange outline. So now we have an area highlighted. We're going to go ahead and search this area, and now we've returned all of the properties that are for sale that are zoned for Hickory High. And notice when we scroll down, scroll back up to the page on our search line here, we see that we will see the number of properties. There are 124 properties for sale zoned for Hickory High. For here now, we just want to hone in. We just want to revise our search or filter our search by results. Okay, obviously, if somebody is in the $500,000 range, we want to eliminate any property over $500,000. Let's go ahead. Let's enter a max price of $500,000. Rerun our search, and now we are down to 31 properties. Okay. Let me switch gears on this search. I know I'm spending a lot of time here, but it's so important to be able to know how to search. 2 more searches I want to show you. I want to, let's say I farm a neighborhood called Jordan Hall. Okay, I want to prepare a mailer and send a postcard to everyone in Jordan Hall in Chesapeake, Virginia. All right. We'll just go home. I always go home to reset my search. I'm going to start typing Jordan Hall. It should automatically start filtering and auto suggesting locations. Notice I found place. I found my neighborhood, Jordan Hall in Chesapeake. As soon as I selected, it performed a search. It's okay. There aren't any properties currently for sale in Jordan Hall. It's a very small community. If you aren't familiar with it, I want to say there's maybe 60 home sites, if even that, maybe 80. However, I'm going to switch my type status from for sale to public records. And now I'm going to perform a search. I must have some filters. Let's reset. There we go. We're going to reset our filters. We are going to select public record, update, and search. And notice now we have 83 properties. Let me show you what this looks like in a map. Let me zoom out. We have all 83 home sites in Jordan Hall. And remember, these are off market. That's what the gray square means. They're off market properties. I can go ahead and click mailing labels, and you have the ability to create up to 2,000 mailing labels per month. You can export mailing labels in CSV format or PDF format, or you can go ahead and choose the label template that you're using. If it's an Avery an Avery template. You can customize how you want that mailing label to appear. You can have the property address or the tax billing address. I would probably select tax billing address, knowing how transient of an area you're in, but it's entirely up to you. You can address it to the owner name or owner name, and if you're sending it to the property address, owner name and or current resident, or you can enter custom name, say valued neighbor or homeowner. You can type in whatever you want it to be. Notice it off to the right, you're going to see how that appears. This is just a sample of what or an example of what it would look like. You have additional filters. Make sure you always select exclude properties with incomplete addresses and exclude listed properties. Okay, you don't want to be sending a mailer to folks that are currently listed. And then you click print. Now it's letting me know there are 68 records in this export, right? So we have it address by property. We have a custom name here. Now, let me go ahead and we're going to go ahead and close that. So I just want to point out that it's very easy to create mailing labels. You have up to 2,000 per month. What I would encourage you to do as well, if you do have a farm area and you want to continue to market to these individuals time after time after time, export the CSV file and then import it into whatever CRM program you're using. The next type of search I want you to be familiar with, and this is probably the easiest, and this is probably not just the easiest, it's the simplest, and it's probably the most common search you're going to run, is just type in the property address. Let's say I got a phone call from a homeowner who lives at 1307 Clubhouse Drive. Now it should be, I'm going to go back, I'm just going to reset. I'm going to go home. We're just going to reset. Sometimes it gets a little sticky there. 1307 Clubhouse Drive. Again, as I begin typing, it will auto suggest properties. So now I have a property address. As soon as I type in that address and I click enter, it pulls that property up. Now it is, because I started up here, it would first default to those that are listed, but then it will also pull off-market properties as well. So always make sure that your type status is if you are very specifically working with listed properties or off-market properties, that you make that selection here. So I'm going to take you through the property detail page. I want everyone to be familiar with what type of information you expect to find here. We have the last close price. We see the status of the property, the last sold date, the RVM, the current RVM. This is the realtor valuation model. Remember, these are updated twice a month. Now, if you are curious which properties our algorithm used to arrive at that value, then click on the price or click on the little button that says view details, and it's going to show you which properties were used. We have some properties in the particular neighborhood. We have some that are over in Los Gaviotas, which is in a separate neighborhood, but for purposes of arriving at a value, we used nearby properties that were similar in nature. We have an RVM estimated range, and we have a 5-star confidence rating. If you don't know what that means, roll your cursor over the little I in the circle, and it will give you an explanation of what that feature means in RPR. For purposes of this demo, a confidence score is based on outcomes of multiple automated valuation models. A high score indicates that the models are more accurate, and a lower score means the models yielded a wider range of estimated values. This gives you the confidence of being able to use that valuation in discussion with, in this case, maybe a potential seller. Okay, we have the owner information. We have some pricing tools, and we could easily click on CMA, refine value, create a seller's net sheet. We have property facts. If we know that this information is, let's say that it's not a full 4-bath, maybe it's really a 3 full 1/2. you can save those changes. Go ahead and click save, and that will update in my account. We have interior features, exterior features, legal description of the property, the schools. Now notice here we have school zone boundaries by niche or niche, however you want to pronounce it. This is third-party data that we have aggregated at this parcel level so that you can see which school this property is zoned for. Now, if this property were listed and the listing agent had schools in the listing, they would appear here side by side. So really cool being able to see listing information side by side with public records and the other sources of data that we've been able to aggregate here. And a lot of times you're going to see inconsistencies, which gives you reason to ask questions, right? Call the listing agent, find out what school is this really zoned for. Again, we have more detailed information about the owner facts. In this particular case, we have a phone number. Now, I wouldn't expect that 100% of the time, but we do have a phone number here for the homeowner. So maybe if you are prospecting for potential sellers in this neighborhood and you have the phone number, you could go ahead and make a cold call to them. Just check that they're on the do not call list first. Public record history. We have deed history for this property. We have mortgage history for this property, and we have tax history. And notice for the tax, you can go year by year to year and see how the tax values have changed. We have sales financing activity. We have a histogram here that shows all that activity, and you can adjust the time frame. We also see it in a list view below. We have a chart for estimated value. You can see how estimated value has changed over the last 15 years, or and then also over the past year, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Okay. That's the bottom of the property information page. So there's a wealth of information here. We can click on map location. And again, these mapping tools are so important. You can see, you can change the map view, and you could, again, see the schools, where the schools are located. Let's see where the public elementary schools are. Click apply. Now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And anywhere where you see the little graduation cap, it will represent where the school is located. And I think I just need to like move the map down. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We also, let's scroll, let's take a look over here. Let's look at market trends. This is really important data. Market trends is accessible from every property detail page, but also from here under marketing and prospecting, under research, under residential market trends. This is roll up data for for all of the activity for the previous month, and it analyzes what the market type is, and then it takes a quick look at active listing inventory, sold listing inventory, sold public records, listing to overall listing inventory, and inventory of distressed properties. This is great data that helps you communicate the health of the market and what's happening in the market. And there are some tools here to help you either share the market trend data or even create a video script, analyze the metrics, or create a social media campaign based on the data in these charts. Let's take a look at refined value, because I spent a lot of time talking about this earlier. There are 4 ways you can refine that value. Remember, we said this property, the estimated value, even though it was a 5-star confidence score, $789,000. Maybe this homeowner put a brand new kitchen in. So whatever your refinements are, whether it's updating public facts, the basic facts of the property. Let's say they put in a new kitchen. They're going to want to pull that money back out if they were to sell. So you'd want to talk about that in your listing presentation. Let's say they went through a major kitchen remodel in July of 2022. They put in a $70,000 kitchen. So based on this, there are about 3 dozen different home improvements here, and it's based by zip code. So it varies, a major kitchen remodel in Chesapeake, Virginia is not going to be the same price as a major kitchen remodel in New York City. So just keep that in mind. As soon as you enter the improvement, you click add improvement, and that will give you today's depreciated value for that new kitchen they put in. Maybe they also have a frog, and I can't remember if it's Chesapeake or Virginia Beach, that includes it in the square footage or doesn't. But let's say there's a frog, and that was completed in 2013, and that cost $100,000 to remodel. We can go ahead and click add improvement. It will give you today's depreciated value for that feature as well. Maybe there are needed improvements for the property, or maybe you simply want to refine the value based on market conditions. Let's say local market is still very much a seller's market. That's going to affect value. Home exterior, maybe they have the nicest landscaping on the block, right? You can just go through these sliders and adjust them up or down. So that's going to refine the value, and we're going to go ahead, and now we have a refined value of $742. I'm going to go back and change this to a 4-bedroom or 4-bathroom because I know it's a complete 4-bathroom. Update facts, and now we have a refined estimate of $915. So the refined value is really a tool to help you explain to buyers and sellers in black and white how improvements affect the value of their property. Now, a CMA is what I would create if I was preparing for a listing presentation. And the CMA literally walks you through step by step. So we're going to quickly create a CMA. There's a comparative analysis, which is a quick and out the door approach based on comps. A sales comparison is much more detailed. This is what an appraiser would use. So it's going to walk us through step by step. The very first step is we're going to confirm the facts of the property. Okay, we're going to confirm facts and close. Step number 2, we're going to find comps. So it's automatically going to default to the same property type, different statuses. It's going to default to the last 3 months. Let's go ahead and adjust this to 6 months. Let's go ahead and perform a search. We're going to see the results in the map view and in a list view below. I'm going to go ahead and just for purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to select these 3 properties, this one active and these 2 solds. We're going to click update valuation and close. So I've selected the comps, and now I have an average of those comps. Now all I have to do is click adjust comps, and we're going to compare the comps to the subject property. So let's say this one is inferior. This one is a little superior because it has a pool and the subject property doesn't have a pool. And this one is about the same. So as you make those adjustments, you click update valuation and close, you're done. That's how easy it was. So the result of our comp analysis is a value of 786,139. A range somewhere between 738, 831. It's not that big of a range, but you can edit that and you can narrow that down even if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. And lastly, you can create a report. Now, when you click create report here, it's automatically going to prompt you to run a seller report. Now, I've already run the seller report, but if you click create report, it prompts you, takes you directly to the reports page of RPR. Notice the top line navigation. Reports is underlined. It's always telling you where you are, and it's prompting you to run a seller's report. Some of these reports are fairly lengthy. This one happens to be about 81 pages all in, but don't freak out. You can customize the report and remove features or elements that you don't want included. And also, you can add your own pages if you want. Those are custom pages. Now, just for purposes of this class, I already ran a seller's report, and this is what my seller report looks like. It's 73 pages. It's beautiful. It has a beautiful cover page. It has remember my photo that I uploaded. It has my logo. It has my contact information. It has an estimated value or the pricing, high level pricing, the facts of the property, and it's scroll page by page by page. Now, this is something that you can download and print. It'd be very nice to have it printed and bound and walk into a listing presentation with. Something that you can email in advance right? It's something that you can generate on the fly from your mobile device and go ahead and share it through social media or text it to the potential seller. So there's a lot of different features, a lot of different functionality when you're working with the reports. Because we're looking at reports, let me just quickly show you the school reports. I ran one for Hickory High. And again, it's including the data that we have for the high school. So with that note, I know we're out of time. I'm going to see if we have any questions. And hopefully that gave everyone kind of a really good glimpse into the RPR platform. So Kristen, if I can bring you back in, did we see any questions that came in? Anything that I need to or that anyone wants addressed?
We didn't have any questions in the chat except for best way to get help on this, but then you covered it with the toll-free number and also the live chat. That is the best way to get help, especially if you can't log in or if you remember seeing something in this class, you're not 100% sure how to do it. Do go ahead and call that number or pop onto live chat. They are always happy to help you and they are really responsive to it. Did anybody else have any questions before we let you go today?
I know we covered a lot of information. Hopefully I didn't overwhelm everyone. The most important thing is to get in there and just start playing around. You can't break it. Pull up your property, look at one of your listings, look at all of the information that exists there and just start making sense of it. And maybe, and I would say, if you ever have a question related to a property, whether it's on or off market, pull it up in RPR and see if you can't get that question answered.
Lisa, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when I set up the app originally, it was when we were at Rose and Womble. Do I need to start a whole new app or is there a way to change the email?
No, to update your email address, you can do that within your your file. Yep, in the upper right-hand corner. Just make sure that your email address is updated with NAR and with your MLS if you're with RAIN. We're going to use the email address that initially we're going to default to the email address on file with NAR. And then if you have updated your email address, we're going to use that email address for your account.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, did anyone else have any questions? You can put them into chat or raise your hand real quick. We'll be happy to answer them. Don't see any additional questions at all.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm going to say that's a good thing.
I think that's a good thing. This class was really thorough. We thank you very much for being here. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the day. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here and giving us such a great overview of RPR. Hopefully you guys go in and take a look as we are moving into a slightly different market. As always, all of this market research and data helps you help your buyers and sellers and also helps you understand our market better. So go ahead and do take a try at it, especially if you haven't logged in lately at all the new tools. Again, thank you so much for being here and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.